11,600 crore rupees from people with jobs like daily wage, auto drivers, fruit vendors, watchmen, who want their money back. Mr. Vipin Malik is with us, former director of the RBI. Mr. Malik, Mr. Rungta was telling us how he believes that the RBI failed to act on time and is still shrouding this entire matter in secrecy. Shouldn't the RBI come forward now and tell us what is wrong with this bank and why these sanctions have been placed?
Well, RBI has done its part. RBI is not the owner of the bank. RBI is the regulator of the bank. Owners of the banks, these are state cooperative banks. So all the state cooperative banks are owned by the state cooperatives. They appoint the directors. So regulator has given the inspection report, and inspection report must have discovered certain wrongdoings in this bank, which include one of the lending of HDI, as I saw from your SMS, that one party has been given 2,500 crore rupees, which I am surprised, because giving a 2,500 crore rupees loan to one party of a bank which has a net worth of only 1,200 crores, how is that possible? Because there are limitations. The limitations, there are sector, any bank which has to lend, it has certain sector specifics, that you cannot lend more than 5% or 10% of your net worth to any sector. And then that is further capped by individual corporates or individual borrowers. So I am also surprised at how such a large lending has been done, and once inspection had discovered that, they have the regulator has to act. So they have acted. They wanted to protect the depositors, and what has RBI action has been is to to protect the depositors. That's all.
Care about the nomenclature that the RBI is using to cover itself in what seems like glory. I just want to know why Mr. Singh and the other depositors don't have access to their money. Why they're having to fill in forms to actually access their own hard-earned, tax-paid money is completely ridiculous. So if you're telling me that bankruptcy has not been declared, that the RBI is not being secretive, that there is nothing to worry about, then give me my money. Why don't I have my money? What else?
Yeah, I fully agree.
What else does a hard-working citizen who has paid taxes need to do to survive in this setup? Please tell me. Pay taxes, put your money in the bank account, don't leave your money at home, use Digital India. Ho gaya. Ab kyun? Ab kya? Now what else do we do? Tell me, Mr. Pathak. Please explain to us why citizens don't have access.
RBI is not a recovery agent.
Yes.
RBI is a regulator.
Go ahead, Mr. Malik.
What I said is RBI is not a recovery agent for any bank. RBI is regulator. RBI discovered certain illegalities in the lending. There was a mismatch on asset and liability, and they find that this bank assets are long-term investments, and whereas the liabilities are immediately due. So there was a mismatch. While seeing the mismatch, they realized that this bank cannot pay the depositor the cash if they start withdrawing from it. So they restricted it to 1,000 rupees for next 6 months. But that doesn't mean that they have liquidated the bank. Since 1969, RBI has not allowed any bank to be liquidated. So what they do is that whenever there is such type of cash problems of any bank, they try to merge with a stronger bank, and so that the interest of the depositors will be protected. And I am sure that RBI will do the same with this bank, while suggesting to the state Maharashtra government, because don't forget that there is election in the Maharashtra government, and Maharashtra government must have nominated the directors there. So if the lending has been done to the directors or to the related companies or to such indirect lending to the relatives of those directors, these are the questions which has to be looked into it. But that is the state government to see all these things, because RBI is not. RBI is only doing inspection, and they have discovered that there is an asset management mismatch. That's all. And and that's why they have put restrictions so that the interest of the depositor is protected. I am repeating that one.
Yes, Mr. Malik, how often is the
The
RBI required
restrictions
to do these sort of audits of all these banks?
Well, inspections are generally done once in 2 years for nationalized banks, and for the state cooperative banks, it depends 3 years or so. But they can be frequent inspection also. You see, don't forget that there is a audit by statutory auditors. There is an internal inspection by the or the concurrent auditors by internal auditors, and the bank has its own internal inspection department. What was the internal inspection department doing when such lending was taking place? Whether they have pointed out these irregularities, all this will come later on. You will see from tomorrow onward, all these discoveries will be there. And if the
Mr. Malik, is there reason for you to believe that this will? Yes, forgive me. Is there reason for you to believe, a specific reason why you believe this information will be made public tomorrow onwards?
Because it will not remain within the files of the bank. Because the depositors or internal people will definitely disclose it, or if that much of media has taken in a small bank that much of interest, in the interest of public policy, maybe Reserve Bank may come out.
Maybe Reserve Bank may come out.
Permits all that thing.
Is this covered by the official?
Any assurance that we can offer the depositors and customers
Yes,
like
please.
Mr. Singh right now?
As I said, I clarified that since 1969, RBI has not allowed any bank to be liquidated, or depositors to be affected. There was, you remember, there was at one time GTB Bank, which was in Andhra, Hyderabad, and that also had the same problem. There was earlier a very large private sector bank which also got some rush at one time, and RBI came ultimately with the lender of the last resort and gave money to the bank so that depositors can be paid. And I am sure that this time also RBI will not allow this bank to be liquidated. But in any case, RBI has no role to play in running of these state cooperative banks. It is the state government. As I say, I am saying the cooperative banks, all cooperative banks, whether it is this bank or of a sugar lobby bank or any cooperative banks or a housing cooperative banks, they are all state government runs administered banks, because the board and the management is appointed by the state government. Only the role of the RBI is inspection as for the whole banking system in India, whether it's a cooperative bank, whether it is a state cooperative or a central cooperative or a nationalized bank or a private sector bank or a private sector old bank, all it is because RBI is an inspection authority, and once they do the inspection, they tell the bank that this is something wrong with you, correct it, otherwise we will remove the management. RBI has one power, they can remove the whole management, and they can tell the state government, remove all the board directors, CMD, vice chairman, whosoever it is, remove them and appoint the fresh. And if you cannot do that, they will appoint the administrator. And I think in this case, probably they have appointed the administrator, and I think within 6 months, the things will be okay.
Right, it is, and Mr. Malik is absolutely right that it is the Registrar of Cooperatives in the state of Maharashtra government that actually regulates cooperative banks, and several cooperative banks have been in a fair amount of trouble lately. Mr. Rungta?